What's up everyone, it's Caddy with MoneyVest. So in this video, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the market's rally back higher with the NASDAQ jumping a little bit over 1.2%, back up to almost 15,000. The S&P 500 also rallying over 1%, back over to 4745. And the Dow Jones also rallying pretty aggressively, up a little bit over 87 points to as much as 37,400 on the day as well. I am under the weather right now. So I'm dealing with some very severe cold and cough and watery eyes, and literally I'm a sneezing machine right now with all the allergies and the pollution here. So I do apologize if I do cough, sneeze. You can hear my running nose. I'm going to try my best to continue to post as much as I can, but I always get sick during the change of season, change of weather here in India. Because there's two reasons. I don't want to get into that. I've already talked about it in our Discord, but I finally figured it out. Anyway, so again, hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it helpful. All I'm asking in return is, of course, you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Links to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. There is a 16% annual discount that's available until the end of this month. So you can access all the members-only videos, private videos, of course, buy and sell alerts, options alerts, trade ideas, including our Excel spreadsheets. Everything is going to be available with the link down below, and we'd love to have you on board. And also do check out the courses, because right now we do have the Christmas sale until December 28th, and the coupon code is going to be Santa Rally, and you get lifetime access to all the courses. And do connect with me on Instagram as well. My handle is going to be CAS@WRP. So the market on a very nice rebound back higher. December seasonality continues. AMD was up, NVDA, Tesla pushing up almost 3%. We had Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, everything pushing higher very nicely. Apple was slightly flat to slightly down. Nike did drop a little bit over 10% after hours on the earnings. I did a video on Nike earlier, so definitely do check that out. And I'll be doing another video going over Nike's updated analysis and, of course, the earnings that they just announced. We'll be posting a couple of videos for members only over the next couple of days going over 2024. And basically what that video is going to show you is 10 artificial intelligence stocks in 2024. So that will be the video number one. And number two would be my highest conviction stocks in 2024. So AI stocks would be specifically technology and artificial intelligence, but I'm also going to go over the areas in the market or stocks and ETFs in 2024 that I believe have the most potential for gains. I still remember in 2022, towards the end of 2022, we talked about how energy is not going to be the sector next year because of the comparables being so far high. And of course, the fact that it had already rallied year to date on a very strong momentum. And of course, 2023 energy is underperformed. Technology has kind of led the way this year. Now, going into next year, I do still believe technology is going to be a pretty big leader in overall market gains. However, it does feel a little bit more like an overcrowded trade because everyone's kind of moved towards the Magnificent Seven. And as a result, their concentration is much higher on a relative scale. And of course, it's highest in over 30 years at over 30% of the S&P 500, which is pretty significant. A third of the market is controlled by just about 7 stocks. But going into 2024, even though technology is still going to be on the radar, it's still going to be on the table for me. I am going to be looking at 4 to 5 different stocks, ETFs, and other areas in the market that I do believe have a lot of potential and opportunity. So that videos will be posted for members only towards the end of December, early 2024, so we can take advantage of that as well. So again, links are going to be down below if you want to access all of that. And this right here, again, is the sector performance. All 11 sectors in the green over the last 1 day. Over the last 1 week, of course, real estate and utilities are struggling. And over the last 1 month, every single sector is green except for energy, which is slightly flat, barely up on the month here. Coffee prices, oats, crude oil, everything pushing higher with the sugar prices, and orange juice definitely selling off quite aggressively. And Bitcoin's a little bit under 44,000 again, and Ether just under 2250 at the moment. Now, going over to volatility, it continues to be a little bit more on the elevated side, up to 13.66. It did get up to as much as 14.45. So we are already starting to see a little bit of that spike in volatility. It's already up 21% from its recent lows. Of course, if we get up to 1820 levels, that's where interesting things start to happen. And that's where we can also start considering, once again, deploying cash and buying and having those as buying opportunities for us to take advantage of those deals. Because of that inverse correlation, when volatility spikes, more often than not, the markets do pull back. So that again could be a pretty good sort of buying opportunity in my opinion for the market. But of course we're not there yet, so keep a close eye on the volatility. Ethereum just consolidating sideways at its resistance. So again, this is inside this red rectangle at 2300, going to be a very, very important level to watch. And Bitcoin here continues to charge higher at almost 44,000. Next resistance and target, as we already know, is going to be all the way up here between 48,000 and 51,000. So those right there are going to be some levels to watch for Bitcoin. And of course, that is going to be that next target. Crude oil prices are looking to break out. They start to kind of feel like they're potentially looking to break out above this downtrending channel of lower highs and lower lows. So what you'll notice is that we have been consistently on this downtrending channel, lower highs and lower lows, and now we're validating this support at $73 a barrel, and we're now starting to slightly break out of this downtrending channel. Next resistance and target is going to be $81 per barrel for crude. Talking about the yields, so the 20-year was lower, but it's pushing right back up to 4.2. And of course, the 10-year also is back, I believe, over 3.9%. So there we go. We're back over 3.9. Even though we have seen a significant selling pressure for a lot of these yields and bond prices have rallied, I would still not write them off from a point of a technical rebound. I do still believe the peak is already past us, meaning that we are not going back, in my opinion, back up to 5.1, 5.2% for the 10-year treasuries, or for the 20-year, we're not going back up to 5.5%. But a reasonable technical rebound might still be on the radar for the 10-year trade back above 4, for the 20-year trade back above 4.5, closer to 5. It is possible for us to maybe see a little bit of a technical rebound and then continue our trajectory lower as investors once again start to rotate in and out of sort of fixed income and equities, considering at the end of the tax year for tax loss harvesting, or even going into 2024 in the first couple quarters, especially first half of 2024, there is going to be some vulnerabilities, in my opinion, from a market standpoint. So keep a close eye. Of course, that's going to be impacting equities in a significant way. Where the yields go, that most certainly affects equities every single time. Now going over to the S&P 500, so this is where we are. We continue to sort of drift higher. Yesterday, of course, we did see a little bit of profit taking. It was a pretty brutal day, but today here markets are recovering a little bit of that loss, up over 1%. Overbought on the RSI MACD once again. Support level is going to stay put down to 4,600 to as much as 4,500. So we've got those support levels at every 100-point breaks, and resistance is going to be all the way up to 4,800 on the S&P moving forward. Very, very nice consistent move to the upside. Of course, we're very, very close to an all-time high for the S&P, up a little bit over 23% on a year-to-date basis. NASDAQ here also overbought with an RSI and a MACD, of course, continues to charge higher. 15,400 is going to be that next target, that next resistance for the NASDAQ, and of course support level is going to stay put at 14,600 to as much as 14,400 for the NASDAQ as well. So lots of consolidation sideways. Again, previous resistance potentially acting as a new support here for the NASDAQ, but the next target and resistance is going to be at 15,400 for the NASDAQ. Talking about Apple, and Apple here also consolidating sideways, not really able to break out of that resistance at 198, 199. So that is going to be that level to watch for Apple. And of course, support level is going to stay put a little bit under 190. So 189.96, closer to 190. That's going to be that support for Apple, and resistance all the way up to 198 for this company. Talking about Amazon, and Amazon here just consolidating sideways a little bit. Of course, we have seen a very nice breakout after a lot of consolidation here. And that next support is going to be 148. I will be looking to sell some calls on Amazon here if it continues to move higher. It's the moment it gets up to 161, 162, I will be looking at selling some calls here for Amazon because of the premiums, because of the overall position sizing, and I think it would be very, very interesting to kind of generate those premiums and, of course, hedge for potential downside as well. That's really what the whole idea is with selling calls on individual stocks, so that you can hedge for the downside and, of course, collect some premiums, lower your cost basis. There's a lot of benefits by selling options. Next one on the list is going to be Tesla, and Tesla here on the day recovering a little bit, up almost 3%, back up to 254. But of course, yesterday's sell-off was even more brutal. It was down over almost 4%. And the next target and resistance is going to be at 269, 270. So this right here is going to be that level to watch for Tesla, and support level is going to stay put down to $240. So overall, very nice lower high and lower low pattern, but it's now starting to break out of that pattern here, and once again making some higher highs and higher lows. I mean, I would even argue that this right here is the higher low for Tesla, and this right here is the higher high for the company as well. So we're in a very nice tight uptrend with that next target and resistance at closer to $270 for Tesla. Talking about NVIDIA, just consolidating sideways and flat at a resistance. So again, this is the overall range within which we have been talking about for NVIDIA. We've got a huge resistance here at $500. And of course, we've got a support sitting all the way down to as low as $400. We've got a couple gaps to eventually get filled. We'll find out if they do or not. But right now, we've got a resistance sitting roughly at 500. That's really where NVIDIA is. Talking about advanced micro devices, and AMD here also continues to move up a little bit over 3%. RSI overbought, MACD overbought. Support level is going to stay put down to $130. So that right there, again, is going to be that intermediate support all the way down to $112 per share. And as we have already discussed, I believe that it is not a question of if, it's a question of when. All of these stocks are going to eventually pull back, right? They will. I can tell you right now that they will. This is not something that is never going to happen, because stocks just don't move in that way. They move up, they come down, they move up more, they come down a little, they move up more, they come down maybe more, and that's how it happens over and over and over again. So we just need to be understanding of that risk and reward, and just be aware that nothing lasts forever, especially in the markets. No trend is permanent. Yes, trend is your friend while it is your friend, right? That's the whole idea, is that the trend is your friend, meaning the trend can change and will change in the future. So for AMD, 131 is going to be that support all the way down to $112. And of course, incredibly overbought right now. The next target is going to be 156 for this company. Talking about PayPal, and PayPal here. PayPal next resistance is going to be at $65. So that right there is going to be that next resistance. Support level is going to stay put down to $56. And slowly, instead of these kind of been drifting higher with an RSI almost approaching overbought category levels. And if it does end up pulling back, because we do have the 200 SMA coming up at the top, which could act as a big resistance at $64, the next support really is going to be down to 56 for PayPal. Talking about Visa, and Visa here continues to kind of hang up there at an all-time high, so it's still pretty elevated, with the next support and a much important area of demand is sitting right over here at $245, $250, and of course a lot of consolidation sideways for Visa. And of course, we got that moving average here at 250. And of course, if we do end up breaking down below this, the next support at the 200 SMA is roughly 236 for Visa as well. Talking about Meta platforms, and Meta here continues to move up to a new 52-week high at 356.41, starting to really break out of this potential resistance, and at the same time trading inside this uptrending channel. So this right here is the higher highs and the higher lows for Meta, and this right here, of course, is the resistance that we're watching for the company. And of course, very, very nice move to the upside. Year to date, the stock's up a whopping 188%. Just needs to close out the year strong. And of course, if it does end up pulling back, the next support, once again, is going to stay inside this green rectangle. This is exactly where we bounced off of more recently, and Meta's up a little bit over 12-13% from those levels. So resistance is going to stay put at 352. Support inside this green rectangle at $320. Talking about Netflix, and Netflix here also on a very nice recovery back up, huge breakout, and now validating that support at 485, 495. So on a very nice sort of recovery after being very overbought, kind of like a very similar pattern to Meta, where it got overbought, it rallied pretty aggressively, and then now it is now starting to it pulled back, validated that support, and it's now starting to rally right back up to 495, 485, around those levels. So next resistance and target at 571, and it continues to validate that support at $485. That's going to be that level of support and demand for Netflix at the moment. Google, with a very nice day, 1.5% green, almost coming up to its 52-week highs. This right here is the resistance within which it's trading right now. We've talked about this. It's exactly where we got rejected in the past. We've seen a lot of consolidation. Of course, if it does end up breaking out, the next resistance and target is going to be all the way up to as much as 147 to as much as 151, pretty much the all-time high for Google. So lots of consolidation sideways. Support level is going to stay put at 126, kind of in line with this 200 simple moving average for Google as well. Talking a little bit about, let's see, Google, then we've got Enphase, Costco, some of those companies left. Enphase here, pushing higher a little bit over 4.5%, back up to 133. It's had a very phenomenal week so far, up over 8% this past week, and the next target of resistance is going to be in line with this moving average at 151. So that is going to be a resistance level, and support level is going to stay put down to $133 per share for Enphase moving forward. And finally, of course, we got to talk about Microsoft as well. And Microsoft here pushing up over 79 basis points. For the most part, it's just been consolidating sideways at the moment. So support level is going to stay put at $366 with a resistance all the way up to $384 per share for Microsoft. And finally, we got Costco. And Costco here pulling back a little bit. On the week, it's only up 1%, but on the day up over 63 basis points after seeing a selling pressure yesterday. I do believe it is incredibly overbought right now, with definitely showing signs of a potential pullback. It's just a matter of, again, when that selling pressure starts to kick in, which I do believe could be in the first couple of weeks of January of 2024. So support level is going to stay put down at $600, kind of in line with those moving averages. And of course, that support here, overbought RSI and MACD. So those right there are going to be some levels to pay attention to. So hope you all enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Again, links to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining, and of course getting access to all the members only private videos. And don't forget that we do have our Santa Rally sale, coupon code Santa Rally, and it's our Christmas sale. Link's going to be down below for all the courses. They're going to be 50% off, so half off, and bundles are going to be 60% off if you want to take advantage of that as well. Lifetime access with all my spreadsheets and cheat sheets available to you at your disposal. So as always, happy investing, and I'll see you all in the next video.